Hi, my name is Marcus from Tuning Bikes. Today, I will demonstrate on a Shimano XT brake, model M8000, how you can bleed your disc brakes using our Shimano bleed kit. In our Shimano bleed kit, you'll find 2 syringes, 2 hoses, 1 M5 nozzle, a hose clamp, mineral oil for Shimano brakes, which you can easily identify due to its pinkish color, a 7mm open-end wrench, and a manual. The first thing we'll do is remove the plunger from one of the syringes and connect the syringe to a hose. Then we'll connect the hose to the hose clamp. Because we are bleeding an M8000 in this video, a model with a sealed reservoir tank, we can shorten the hose a bit. This makes the bleeding process a little easier. You'll see how that works later on. Now we attach the nozzle, and this is what it looks like in the end. Now we'll attach the second syringe to a hose. And then fill it with mineral oil. When filling the syringe, some air is bound to enter. You can remove the air by holding the syringe with the opening facing upwards and lightly depressing the plunger. Now you should have a syringe full of mineral oil, free of air. Now, adjust the brake lever so that it rests in an almost horizontal position. The bleed screw should now be the highest point in the system. If your Shimano brake has an adjustment screw for the lever reach, screw it clockwise as far as it will go, so that the lever is as far away as possible from the handlebars. Also, if your brake has an adjustment screw for the free stroke, make sure to screw it in completely. After you've removed the wheel, you'll need to take out the brake pads so as not to contaminate them with oil. To do so, we first have to remove the fixing pin and the pad retaining screw. Once you've removed the screw, it should be easy to slide the brake pads back and out. Now we have to push the brake pistons completely back into the caliper body. Make sure to use a suitable object, not a screwdriver or the like, but rather something made of plastic, or, as shown here, a piece of wood, so that you don't damage the pistons. The next step is to block the pistons. To do so, just slide the bleed block, usually supplied with the brakes, in between the pistons. If you don't have a bleed block, you can use something else with a similar width, for instance, a 10mm hex key. That will work just as well. Now we're ready to mount the syringe filled with mineral oil to the brake caliper. We'll do this via the bleed nipple, which is protected by a dust cap. It's best to completely remove the dust cap. This gives us the most working space. Then we'll take the syringe and connect the hose to the caliper. This is easiest to do approaching the nipple at a side angle and may require a little bit of force. Once attached, secure the syringe upright to the fork with a zip tie or elastic band, whatever you've got handy. This way, you get the benefit of gravity working for you. You can see here how some really small air bubbles are already rising to the top. Later on, this upright setup will also help to prevent pushing air that may be in the syringe back into the system. Now you can remove the bleed screw from the reservoir tank. Be aware, the screw has an O-ring. If the ring is not attached to the screw when you remove it, make sure to take out the ring from the tank as well. The screw is pretty small, so be careful not to lose it. Now, take the syringe fitted with a hose clamp and screw it into the bleed port, making sure there is a tight fit. Next, we'll open the bleed nipple using the 7mm open-end wrench supplied with the kit. A quarter rotation is all you need. Then, carefully depress the plunger. You should see the oil now begin to flow into and fill the top syringe. It's best to hold the syringe on the brake lever, just to keep it stable and prevent it from coming off. If your oil looks like the oil here in this video, I would dispose of it. Just screw off the syringe, properly dispose of the oil, and reattach it. To get rid of any air that may still be in the brake caliper, very carefully pull back the plunger of the caliper syringe. This draws oil from the lever syringe back into the system. Now, tap the hydraulic hose, with a screwdriver for instance, just to loosen up any air that may still be inside. Once again, depress the plunger of the caliper syringe. By now, at the latest, there should be no more air in the system. Now, pull back the plunger of the bottom syringe, just a touch, so that there isn't so much oil in the top syringe. That way, the top syringe can stand up on its own. That's why we shortened its hose at the beginning of the video. So, once we've done that, we can go ahead and close off the bleed nipple. A quarter turn will suffice. Okay, now we'll remove the syringe. First the zip tie, and then the syringe. After that, we can reinstall the dust cap onto the bleed nipple. At this point, we can reinstall the brake pads. First, remove the bleed block, and then slide the pads back into the caliper. Reinstall the pad retaining screw, and finally, reattach the fixing pin. Lastly, you can trigger your brake lever a couple of times. You should already have a sound pressure point again, but in case there's still a little bit of air in the lever, this should free it up. Okay, now you can close off the syringe with the clamp and unscrew it. It's important that the bleed port is full to the brim with oil. Screw on the bleed screw again, making sure not to forget the O-ring. Well, that's all there is to it. We're through bleeding our brakes. As you can see, it's not rocket science, and you can bleed your brakes relatively quickly and easily on your own. So go for it!